Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
You're always waiting for me, aren't you?
I always wait for you. Yeah, you're my little.
Like the signal.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Friday evening chat with myself, Zahir, and my lovely wife, Rebecca. This is our Friday, what we used to call chinwag. I'm not sure if we're going to keep on calling it chinwag, but our Friday chat.
I don't think you've put it in there today.
No, I haven't. The title of just to get straight into it. Why not just get straight into it? There's a couple of things we're going to talk about today, but the main topic today is going to be about like listing on eBay. And the title is "No Point Listing on eBay for the Sake of It." So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about just generally how eBay has been and how our week has been so far. So we're gonna go with that, aren't we? We're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
We have had a pretty overall decent week in terms of the shop and eBay, etc. But we have had a few days, like we took like a naughty Thursday off, didn't we? Kind of.
Yeah.
We decided
we weren't feeling it on Thursday.
We literally weren't feeling it on Thursday.
And we were just like...
We were like, word, weren't we?
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I think it was like we were there and we were just like... Yeah.
But we weren't really there.
We had a bad mood. And I think we were
I don't think it was terrible.
No,
We've had worse days.
But it was like, exactly. It wasn't that bad. Like today was actually a worse day than yesterday, sales-wise. But we stuck out today.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we were just like, word. And like Beck was like, let's bounce. That's what she said.
That's not what I said.
It's probably not what she said, but I'm imagining she said like, let's bounce, yo. and I was like, word. And then we left. That's what happened.
I think you actually suggested it.
Yeah, I did suggest it.
You were like, come on.
I tell you what,
I was like, yeah.
I think you have to sometimes do these things because you get to the point sometimes where you're like, hold on, why am I doing all this if I can't do that?
And the thing
like,
is,
why am I being boss if I can't do that?
Today we had our internet went down.
Yeah.
Our till system went down because there was no internet.
Yeah.
And like we had not like all the issues, but this
morning
was like...
Yeah, but we were fine.
It was just a pain.
Yeah.
Like to get anything done. Like we couldn't list on eBay because we had no internet.
Literally
we couldn't list on our website
and
because we had no internet.
The funny thing is we normally have 2 sets of internet.
Yeah.
And the very day that we turned off our mobile 4G...
we cancelled one of them, didn't we? Because we were like, look, it's such a waste having to...
Well, we got the Plus Net and we didn't need it. And then that was it. It's one of those things anyway. That is what I want to talk about. Let's get into the chat. That was one of the things. So we'll
carry on in a bit.
We'll carry on. Let's say some highs. There's about 30 people in here, which is incredible. We've got BCP. We have got Damien DB Resells, who's back making videos. So thank you for popping in. We have got Tea Cakes, Johnny 40 Coats, Alia, Ruth says hi everyone from Stitches, and Ruth beckons here. Ruth, bless her, in the chat, has been so supportive of us and actually bought Rebecca's Stitches voodoo doll and made like a little Instagram post about it as well. So Ruth, really do appreciate the support.
Absolutely.
And we're really glad to know that Stitches is going to be helping you through your recovery.
Yeah.
And like it's amazing. Really do appreciate it. Married to Reselling is in the chat as well. Hi guys, thanks for popping in. Tommy says, oh, we got the cool TikTok hold the lav mic going. You know what? I have to hold the lav mic. It's the only way because I can't quite. Actually, I don't know if I could. No, it's too short. The beard is too short, but I have to hold. And BCP says yes, the sound and stream is fine. Before you ask, thank you, BCP.
Thank you.
Fix it for reselling. Kirsten, the fellow shopkeepers, says evening fellow shopkeepers. Yes, Kirsten, by the way, guys, in the chat has, as you know, an amazingly cool curios shop based in the lovely southwest of the country. I think it's Devon. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it. It sounds like Devon. We have also got who else is Shelley has popped in. Shellsworld, thank you for popping in as well. Kevin says, what's the point in buying a small discreet microphone if you're going to hold it and make it incredibly obvious? Well, do you know why, right? If I lav this up, okay, listen to this, right? Okay, if I actually use it how it's meant to be used, I think it sounds garbage. Let me know how garbage that sounds It just sounds really terrible. I just don't like it like that. I think it's much better when I'm holding it like this. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. So what else? Can't say thank you. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you, Ruth. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Word, word, word. Word is the word.
Thanks, Tommy. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
Tommy has just super chatted $5 if you didn't know, and
I was trying to listen for the end.
yeah,
I was like,
thank you so much,
gonna end,
Tommy.
right?
Appreciate it, and good use of the voice chat thing. Could you clip the mic to your nostrils, asked Shells? It would be painful, I think.
yeah.
Peter Ray has popped in. Jason Mylan has popped in. Some lovely to see so many people in the chat, guys. Really do appreciate it. Clip it to the quiff, says Johnny 40 goes. Anomalous data point says good evening. So yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, so let's talk. There's a couple of things. He stroked out. He didn't even finish the love you guys bit, did he? He just L'd
he
and
was
left,
just like, yeah,
yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, he was just giving us the L, but thank you nonetheless. Right, let's talk about a couple of things before I forget, right? First thing, we have had, when you get that customer, like, the really rude and unreasonable customer, we've had one of those today on eBay, and it's just a massive, like, it was one of those things, right? We sold him an item a couple of days ago, literally a couple of days ago.
It is quite literally
2
a couple of days ago.
And as soon as the item hasn't arrived within the estimated delivery time, the message comes in. Apparently, it's sellers like me that give eBay a bad name, with lying to customers to get sales with our fake delivery times. Using like bad language, but kind of not typing it, so he's smart.
So he tried.
He's
so basically, when he says,
MF,
when I say,
cut the MF crap type thing,
and then he does,
but
then he does
stars,
dot, and things like that, and it's just like, you know where he's going with what he's saying because he's obviously gotten into.
But he's smart enough to know that he can't type in rude words into the message. And this is on an item that sold for. I mean, the item. I'm not going to tell you the value because the value is irrelevant. Because I think it can sometimes make the value is irrelevant. But this is an item that has been shipped out as soon as he bought it, and it's only just gone outside the estimated delivery time,
which I think was yesterday.
Yeah. And the funny thing is,
was it yesterday or was it today?
I think it was yesterday, and I think. Then Rebecca did the usual where you go and look at someone's profile.
I have to. Okay, when you get messages like that, I have to look into their store, who they are, what kind of feedback they've left for others, and I'm not kidding you, it is awful.
Yeah.
Like literally, really awful.
He leaves so much negative feedback.
Like he very rarely leaves positive feedback.
The poor guy has just had the worst luck on eBay. I mean, like every seller that he has come across, he or she, we don't know actually. Because they don't, this is the other thing, they don't even actually have their proper name in their address details. So we know their address, but they don't actually spell out their proper name. It's like an abbreviation using letters and numbers, which is ridiculous. I don't know why eBay allows you to type in numbers as part of your name. Like it shouldn't allow it really. But unbelievable, and the amount of negative feedbacks on his profile, his or her profile, unbelievable. Like the guy has just had such bad luck. I'm guessing, I don't know. Like
he hasn't received the item yet, so he can't leave negative feedback.
But it's coming, isn't it? It's coming.
But
there's no doubt about it.
Absolutely coming, and we know it's coming.
Just such an unhappy.
But I've already blocked him from purchasing anything else from us.
I mean,
I do that. As soon as I get like a little.
But of course, can I just say, of course, I replied.
Yeah, of course you did.
But I was super professional, super kind. I didn't even point out how rude he was being or anything like that, which I would be well within my rights to do so. No one deserves to be spoken to like that. But I was very professional is the word.
Yeah.
I was just super professional. My message was to the point, just clarified everything. And you know, it's just one of those situations where you have to bite your tongue.
Yeah.
Because the sad thing is, if you actually look at this gent's profile or person's profile, there's been some pretty, like, you can see that all the replies have come from sellers with low feedback, so more inexperienced like replies. The odd reply that there is from a big seller, it tends to be, you can tell it's like one of those automated responses.
Yeah.
You could tell all of the people that took the time to try to kind of retaliate to this person's comments, because the thing is, this guy knows what he's doing. He's not swearing he's swearing, but he's not swearing.
Yeah.
He's saying everything he wants to say, but if you contacted eBay, they wouldn't, I guess,
they probably would not remove it, because
there's no feedback extortion going on.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing, so he's not trying to threaten for feedback.
No.
He's just having his cake and eating it. He's just being immensely rude, and you can see that everyone that's taken the time to write like a witty response or a sarky reply or to pull him up on his rudeness, every one of those sellers has been like a new seller, like not like an experienced seller, or not a seller that has got better things, not to say better things to do, but a seller that's done this rodeo, as the Americans would say. You know, this is not their first rodeo. Like, luckily enough, before eBay, I also worked in retail where people were also rude to your face.
Yeah, they're rude to your face in retail.
So some guy on the internet is not gonna. This doesn't bother me. Like, I'm used to people being rude to my face, right? So it's one of those situations where, like, it's not my first rodeo either, and when I see responses like that, I just think you're not helping, or you might be doing it to make yourself feel better, but it's really not. There's no point in retaliating to that, because or being smart back, because some sellers were even pointing out, I can see from the feedback you've left others, and trying to go into these whole debates and you know, questioning his morality and whatnot. This person is not to be reasoned with.
No. And to be quite honest, if he's done it that many times and
he's
eBay
not
can
change.
see that he's done it that many times.
Yeah.
I honestly, depending on what obviously he writes in our feedback, depends on whether we'll be able to get it removed. I doubt we will, because I think the way he's left it for other sellers is so that it can't be removed, because eBay will just go, well, that's his experience. So, I mean, it's not to say that we won't try it if he does do that. But
I think the best thing to do in this situation is for everyone that deals with him to report him. I think that's the only thing. And eventually, I'm sure eBay's bots will see what's going on and react. But wow, you know, it was one of those, like, normally I don't take the time to vet people.
No.
Like, if someone's a buyer, I'm just like, you're a buyer.
No, we don't. We don't like pre-vet people.
No.
So if we are accepting offers, we just accept them. If it's an offer we're happy to accept, we'll do it. If
I
it's
don't
not,
tend to
we
go
decline
in...
it. We don't look into the person, like, for each sale.
No.
You know,
imagine
you
if
just
you
haven't
did that.
got time
Imagine
for
if you did that
though.
for every offer that came in. You'd be just like...
I just don't... so we don't do that. It's like when people buy from us in the shop, we can't vet them when they buy from us.
We don't know what they've been doing.
We're not going to do it online either. So it's like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, he can say what he wants.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Santa Claus and Antiques and Collectibles, welcome to the chat. Appreciate it. Santa Claus says hello from North Pole. Shell says, "Oh blimey, someone who knows you in real life." No, we don't know the person.
No, we don't
know the person.
Don't know them.
We've seen their address, etc. They live about. It's about a 4-hour drive, probably, something like that.
Yeah.
They're not anyone that we're aware of, and I don't think it's anything to do with YouTube. This is just how they.
I think this is just how they function.
This is how they function. I don't
think it's anything to do.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with that. Yeah. Can't you report those kinds of messages as abusive? Yeah, anonymous data point. I think you can, and I think we will. And Tommy says, I had one on eBay this week as well, screaming and yelling because of shipping delays. Nothing could be done. Once she got the shoes, she blasted me on feedback. 2 minutes on the phone with eBay removed. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and Shell says you must be a very unhappy soul. Probably. You have to feel sorry for them, says Kirsten. All that anger is not good for your soul. So true, Kirsten.
Yeah. I mean,
You do. Yeah.
There's worse things in the world out there, to be quite honest.
Yeah, if you shipped on time, eBay will remove. Exactly. Yeah, it's just one of those situations. You can't get worked up about it. No, it wasn't a prison ID, but it was numbers in their name, and never reply. If so, the odds of eBay removing become very slim.
We don't tend to reply to negative or neutral feedback.
Yeah,
we just don't.
Yeah,
I don't see the point in trying to engage with the person.
Yeah,
after. Like if they've left negative feedback.
Shell agrees as well. Absolutely agree. It's like not feeding the trolls. Don't get into public slang match. Exactly, because it just doesn't look good. Because even if you've got very valid points, I mean, like I did come up with a couple of zingers. I did think I could reply to him and say, "No, sir, you are indeed a medical marvel."
No, just don't.
Okay, it's a really good one.
It's not. It's not. Okay, it's not. I'm saying no.
It's so good.
I've heard it. Okay,
and you like?
It's not good. It's really not good.
No.
No.
Like
I didn't even like it. No.
I thought you liked it.
No, I didn't like it. No.
Were you not laughing?
No.
Was it laughing in shock or disgust or something?
No, I just It
was good. Honestly, guys, good. It was really good. I'm not allowed to repeat it, but you say the things if you want. Let your steam off, I suppose. But I mean, and the thing is, I'm really aware of this as well, because I once came onto this channel and made an absolute tit of myself after dealing with a company that it wasn't really their fault. It was it called ITZoo, and they sent me a laptop which wasn't quite working, and it was an honest mistake, but I went and just behaved like a moron on YouTube, and it was just not the right way to behave, actually. And I think I upset the person that was dealing with me because of, and I'm like, and once they resolved it, I was all fine, but it's such a jerky thing to do, and I kind of feel like, imagine if you were like that all the time. Like, I feel embarrassed about that, and thankfully that was what you would call an aberration, I suppose, and, I'm not normally like that. I think it was just bad day, maybe, who knows, whatever it was, no excuse for it, but like, imagine if you were like this all the time. That would be pretty sad, wouldn't it? eBay can see how many times he's done it, but he's still able to buy on the platform. Susie, that is the problem, but I think if enough people report him, like we're going to make sure we report him, then it should be fine. I think everyone who buys from him who has a bad experience should report. But yeah, it's quite. He's been on the platform since 2016, and honestly, it's quite shocking the amount of negatives. It's worth leaving a response feedback to let others know. Sounds like he is on borrowed time, says Jason. He's on borrowed time, certainly. What else are people saying? I used to find the block a user page on eBay really hard to navigate to. Alas, I can now get there very quickly without looking it up, says Anomalous Data Point. Yep, he was added very quickly.
I don't know whether you know how quickly to kind of do it, but I'm always one of the first ones in there, just getting it out of the way and just doing it.
Tell us you want to use it next time. Oh no, whisper it. No, I'm not going to, because it is rude. It is rude.
It is really rude.
Really good though.
It's not something that you should say.
It's really smart and it's really funny. It's really good, but I'm just going to have to keep it to myself. Yeah. Surely sensibly putting your point of view across as a reply is better than ignoring negative feedback. No sarcasm, rudeness, just state facts. The only reason I would say it's not worth it in this scenario is because it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, and also the amount that he has left for other people is just really, really shocking. And I think anyone that looks into that sort of feedback will see that, at the end of the day, when you look at the rest of our feedback in general, like, most people are like really, really happy. They are stating like, we fast dispatch, fast delivery.
We even we actually, on a positive note, we actually had someone that left positive feedback and then took the time to message us to thank us for the speedy delivery.
Exactly.
And the great packing job we did on their PlayStation Vita console.
So I think overall, our feedback is like really, really good anyway. So I'm like, I can see the point about replying, but I'd rather take the time, see if we can get it removed. If we can't, we'll just leave it. We'll just move on.
Peter says it's not to let your steam off, but it's to let others know that you're legit and they're crazy. Yeah. I can see it from that point of view. I can see it, but I think in this situation, it's like there's enough evidence there's plenty of evidence from, and to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure we have like auto response, but no, it's only if they leave a positive. If they leave a negative, then it won't. Then it would be up to us to respond. Jason agrees with Peter. I can see that. Moron, says Tommy, that was your best performing video ever. Well, that doesn't make it right. Hey, Tam and Bell. Blocking buyers is one of my favorite pastimes, says Susie. What else are people saying? Replying is not about communicating with your customer, it's about communicating with future customers. That's a good point, Peter.
I get that, but also like we said, they can see it from our other feedback. If they look at other feedback that other customers have left, you can actually get a gist of that.
I'm hoping we'll be able to get it removed. So I'm hoping if we do get one, we'll be able to get it removed. We'll see how it turns out, and we'll keep you guys updated. Fix It for Reselling says hi to Tam. Julie Motley as well in the chat. Thank you for popping in, Julie. Santa says type out a response including all the bad words you want to say, but then delete it and never send it. That's always a good way of dealing with it. Secret Carper says, I'm sure eBay will remove it. Hope you're well. Thank you, Secret Carper. I hope so. I'm just concerned that we sent it using Royal Mail, but it wasn't tracked. It will have delivery confirmation.
Yeah, I mean, I looked into the tracking today because obviously I know sometimes we do send it tracked, but and it says like tracking will be updated until we attempt delivery, and so it's like I think that should be all right.
It should be okay.
We don't normally have a problem with it.
No.
Like if we have any like cases,
and I think it got scanned in, so it shows that it was scanned in.
So it does show that it's been
scanned in on time, so it was sent on time. So they'll know that, I suppose. No, I think you got the right end of the stick there, Peter. No, customers are not looking at feedback. It will be pushed down off the first page in a couple of days. Very true. Jack Dobbins, hey Jack, good evening, says Jack. Should we get on to our next thing? How's consistent listing been this week? That's exactly what I was going to talk about, Shell.
So
consistent listing. Let's talk about
consistent listing.
Right. I reckon Beck and I are good at consistent listing. Yeah,
we're all right.
Would you say that?
We're all right.
I think we're quite good. Right. I think we're quite good at consistently listing, and our aim was to list like 15 items a day, right?
Yeah.
Now, we've had to have another look at what we're doing, and you guys can let us know whether you think we're wrong or whatever. Because at the end of the day, we're still going to do what we want to do, aren't we? But like, we were. Like a lot of people, I think there's definitely value in consistently listing. There's lots of people that prove that from their stores by consistently listing. Now, the thing we found, I think, is consistently listing has bought up, and I'm talking solely used here. We're not talking about wholesale. We're not talking about what we do with the shop and the website. And we don't have any shop products now on our eBay store. Our eBay store has been shrunk right down at the moment because we removed all of that. So what I think is interesting is we were consistently listing, and then we realized that maybe that 15 a day maybe is too high a number for us right now.
Yeah.
Because I think what it did was it showed that maybe we're not as good at sourcing as we thought. Because there's no point, like the title says, the whole point, there's no point in just listing for the sake of listing.
No.
I think with consistently listing, it can become an addiction where you just think to yourself, I need to list
I've just got
X
to hit
a
that
day.
number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our number was 15. Yours can be 20, 30, 40, 50, 10, 5, 1, whatever. It doesn't matter, right?
And then you're not taking care of like the items that you are listing. So like just to reach your number, you're not actually looking at it and going, is this worth going on my store?
Yeah. And I think this is where it comes down to. I think we've realized maybe we're not as great at listing as we thought, because I want to list consistently. I 100% believe in consistent listing. I think it is 100% a useful, it's the correct way of doing a store. I think there's plenty of people out there that prove with massive numbers in this chat as well, actually, who prove that by consistently listing, they get consistent sales, right? But they have consistently good items. And what I mean by good items, I don't mean high ticket. I don't mean anything like that. I mean, there's two factors involved. They've got to be in demand or have some demand at least, not completely I'm not saying you have to list items that are, like just super, you list them and they sell within a second. I'm talking about just there's got to be some demand on that item, and also you've got to be able to offer that item at a competitive price, because you could have the latest iPhone, but if you charge 15 grand for it, no one's going to buy it. You might get lucky and some guy might buy it who's high or something, but the regular person, the regular iPhone customer won't buy your 15 grand iPhone, because you're asking about 13.5 grand over the market value, right? So you need to have those two things. And there is a third thing which people talk about, which is photographs, but I think that goes without saying. You've got to be able to take good photos. Let's assume you can take good photos, right? So it comes down to, not only have you got to list consistently, but each of the items you're listing has to have demand, and you've got to be able to offer it. Correct?
Yeah.
I think that was the reason why we removed our wholesale. Do you want to talk?
We removed our wholesale, and not because it's
not in
items
demand.
that are not in demand. It's because we can't offer it at a competitive price. Because of the prices that we're buying in at, it means the margins are that much lower. And then with other stores, like bigger stores, that are able to buy that stock at a more a better price for them, because you got to think with wholesalers, we're like such a small account almost for most of our wholesalers. We run a small shop, and we don't order like masses of wholesale, not like some of these online stores that have got a bit of an audience. And
but there's a lot of churn and burn them with that. There's very small margins on those.
They are.
They're operating on small margins.
Yeah, they're
and
not
quantity.
making a massive per.
So they have to turn over loads. Yeah.
Yes.
And our eBay store obviously isn't that. Our eBay store is heavily focused on used items.
Yeah.
Now this is the thing. We recently got like a lot of comic books, didn't we? And we found ourselves listing those onto our website and onto eBay as part of our 15. Now, what I was noticing is like that was just growing and growing our store. But these were items that like may take months or a year to sell, because you're going to need someone that's looking for that specific issue of that comic. So we had an item that was probably priced fine, but the demand was just so slow.
And also like when you start looking at like how many are listed per how many are sold, it's kind of like you're looking at it and you're going, right,
so many people do it.
There are this many listed
and
barely any sold. Like it's sold like maybe once
but
or twice, or not even once sometimes.
But it shows, it gives people
because it's down to like different issues as well. Like some of the issues, like the more in demand stuff. So like if it's the first appearance, if it's been like if the artwork's been done by a particular artist or something like that, that can make it a little bit more valuable. And those will probably are more likely to kind of pick up a sale. And obviously it does depend on condition when you're talking about comics as well, especially if it's going to a collector.
The point is, it's such a slow seller. It's like why, you know, like why, like, and you're putting this on your store when you know that eBay are going to give you traffic.
Yeah.
And like we've gotten, and then they're going to look at all this stuff that they're not going to buy, and that's going to affect your metrics. That's it wastes your time, and it's going to affect your metrics. And it's really important that you don't do that. And it's made us realize that as we are right now, even after all these years, I guess I'm just not as good at sourcing as I thought I was.
No, I don't think that's
in terms
true,
of volume.
though.
No, it's true.
No, I think volume
wise, yeah.
I kind of agree.
There you go.
But there are things that we are doing that are not helping the situation.
Go on.
We're at the moment we're very much like no loan working. Like we shouldn't really be in the shop on our own.
Yeah.
Is how we've been doing it, and we've been doing that for a few months, haven't we? And you know, so
yeah, but
for
I'm
sourcing,
saying as it stands.
no, but for sourcing, it's kind of like you've got to look at your opportunities, and you know, although we are starting to advertise more about buying through the shop and things like that, that's going to take time. Okay, that's going to take time to build. So that's not going to be like a straight change to actually get people to bring stuff to us rather than us having to go out and look for items. But even if we're getting collections through the shop, we should still be looking, because you know, you just don't know when the next collection is going to come along anyway. But my point,
get there eventually.
Just trying to get my point
get there eventually. Yeah, we'll get there, guys.
Do you know what?
No, I'm
okay,
teasing.
I don't say that to you,
I'm
man.
teasing you.
I don't say that to you. You go
teasing.
around the houses
I'm
like
teasing.
anything,
Do I?
man.
Do I go around
Absolutely.
houses? I don't think I go around. Put into the chat if you think I go around the houses to make my point. I don't think. I think I'm succinct. Succinct is the word. Anyway, go for it. Yeah.
I actually forgot what my point was.
No.
So what was I saying? I was saying about like sourcing and stuff like that. So my point is, I don't think like Zahir's opportunities to source have been that, like, you haven't.
Are you
had that many
basically saying
chances.
it's your fault?
In a roundabout way, I suppose.
Just say it.
No, I'm not saying it's like my fault totally, because we both made this decision.
Basically, yeah, we need to.
So there's things that we need to kind of like.
We need to split up more so that I can source.
Because I don't think it's fair.
To give you guys an idea, we've reduced our store currently down to about, I think it's on about 170 listings. Yeah. However, our sales are as good as they've ever been.
Yeah. Our sales are still pretty good.
I think our 90-day total is amongst, it's better than it normally is. I think we're above 10K on our 90-day total. And that's with 170 items, because the stuff we've removed wasn't selling anyway. Was it, hun? Like, no. The stuff we removed removed everything that we were not competitive on. Yeah. Because we have lots of high demand stock.
Yeah, we do.
But it's better off being sold on our website and in the shops and at toy fairs.
But
having it on eBay was pointless, because
we were making it less in demand because of our pricing on eBay.
Our price, because we were
well, we can't afford to offer it at this price.
It's not even afford, because we could have done what the others are doing. But
I know, but I just don't want to do that.
Like, why are you doing that work for, just to? Yeah, because everyone undercuts. Imagine if you're like a pop culture store and there's 100 pop culture stores. They're all getting the same new release at the same time. They're all listing it on eBay at the same time. Guess what happens? Like with anything, like with Amazon. And we don't want to play that game, because it's like, what's the point of doing that work? Just to, you're better off just selling it in person, sell it at a toy fair, sell it in your shop, sell it on your website, and you'll be fine.
And that's
So we've reduced our store right down with that. We got rid of all of that stuff. So we're trying now to, every time we're listing something, we're trying to make sure that it's got some demand.
And it's got to be worth it.
Yeah. And you know what? Stuff we're listing is selling. The difficulty is it's exposed, like I said, it's exposed that we don't have enough of that stuff available. So that's now what we need to work on. I mean, I'll give you a couple of examples and we'll go into the chat as well.
Yeah.
Here are things. This is something that I picked up last week, right? So I think when was this, Saturday or Sunday?
I want to say Saturday, but I can't remember.
I bought these.
Or was it Sunday?
4K Blu-rays at the car boot for £1 each. The Gen only had
it wasn't
5.
Sunday. We were at Toy Fair Sunday.
Green
It was
Hell.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. So we bought this on Saturday at Green Hell, right? Which is one of our local car boots. Jen had 5 of these. If he'd had more, I would have bought more. These are 4K Ultra Blu-rays of The Kingsman, which is a new movie with Ray Fiennes. He only had 5. £1 each, and within a week, we didn't even list them, I think, until Monday or Tuesday. Monday they got listed, and they've all sold. So, in demand item, we're able to offer it at a competitive price. Bam, it's all gone, right? Another example, Teletubbies. We bought these on Saturday as well. We actually bought 3 of them.
Where are you showing that one?
There was the red one, there was the purple one, and the green one. Yeah, the red, purple, and green. We didn't have the yellow one. Price, we got these for, I think it was like £4 a pop, because we bought them all together. Because we had the right price, the items in demand, and in this case, the photo probably helped because it stood out from all the other listings. Someone in America bought all 3, all gone within a week, right? Another example, a digital camera, a Panasonic Lumix, listed and sold comfortably within a week. And these last couple of items are Kindles and a Ninja Turtle figure. Again, they were listed and they sold pretty much immediately. So, you know, that's just a small example. And we've got lots and lots of items that recently that have been listed and have just sold quickly. And it just makes you realize that actually when stuff isn't selling, it's you know, like that's all it is. If stuff isn't selling, it's your item, not you, it's your item. Your item is either not in demand or your price isn't right. So if you've got an item that people want and you can afford to price it, it's going to sell, you know. And can I also say a lot of this stuff sold before we even added any promotions on, but since doing like the 5% discount promotion as well, that's really helped as well. Should we go into the chat quickly?
Yeah, because we haven't caught up for a while.
Sorry about that, guys. Let's quickly scroll back. We are sellers, think like an average buyer. Astonishing how many sellers look at how they shop on eBay versus the average seller. That's a good point. Z, are those items in green in the upper right hand corner your points you want to cover? Looks professional and posh. Those items in green, no, those are just people that have super chatted before
like
Santa Claus. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. What else are people saying? Peter Walton says, very good points. I've wasted hours listing junk that should have been given away on Facebook Marketplace. Time consuming very much. And Tommy says, if it doesn't have a good sales history, there is not a single reason to list it and waste your traffic. Night's Life has popped in. Thank you for popping in, Richard. Shell says, I fell into the trap of listing listing under par items just to get a certain amount listed. Sourcing enough viable items is an art. Very true, Shell. That's the thing, and that's what we're finding now, that we've got to up that side of our business, because I obviously know how to find profitable items, but I need to make sure that I'm doing it on enough of a volume level. You know, like
I think that's the issue is like just the volume. Like, and that's what we need to look at.
Well, I mean, the video game haul we got was amazing for that, wasn't it? So you're saying people who get high make bad decisions? Yes, Susie, that's exactly what I'm saying. Tam and Bell, thanks for popping in, guys. The hardest thing is when you get a bulk load of stuff for an amazingly cheap price and you try to list everything as you see it as all profit since it was so cheap. Then most of it sits and sits and sits. You know what, Tam and Bell? That's probably one of the best comments in the chat. 100%. Yeah. That for me is the crux.
Yeah, and I have to say, right, so like we had like a lady come into us that wanted to sell like gaming collection, didn't we?
Yeah.
And this week we've actually sorted through, like, because it come with a whole bunch of games, consoles, whatever.
Yeah.
We actually went through. Well, I actually went through the games this week, just to make sure what was worth listing individually, and then what we were like, right, we can take that to the car boot and just, you know.
We actually sold a bunch at the toy fair.
Yeah, we did. We took them to the toy fair. We sold a whole bunch at the toy fair.
And there's a whole bunch that we're actually going to be selling at the car boot tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and that's the first time. And you know what, Shell? If we'd gotten this haul a couple of years ago, or a year ago, or something, or 2 years ago, we would have probably sat there and wanted to sell everything because, like you said, we would have seen. Sorry, Tam and Bell. Like we would have done the exact same thing. We would have broken down every single game, even if it was a $4.99 game or a $3.99 game. We would have listed it. This time we've not done that. We've gone for the meaty sales. We're keeping those items. We're going to make sure we get the profit on those, and the rest we're going to liquidate and get cash out because we can afford to. You know, we can afford to. We've worked out the deal. We know where our profit's been. We've sold some higher ticket items already.
Yep.
That's the way to do it. Not to get bogged down in, because again, it's so easy to just list. And actually saying that, I did almost fall into it because I got some Sega Saturn stuff, and I love the Sega Saturn as a console. And I found that I've listed some games that really I should just be selling at the car boot. So you know, but we've stopped that, and most of it we're getting rid of. So that's a great point, Tam and Bell. Really appreciate it. Tea Cakes says low value, low demand items are best in the bin. Time is precious. Very true. ABL Dave has popped in. ABL Reselling. Thanks for popping in. Tam agreed, says Peter Walton. I have 2,000 birthday cards that I sell one each month at only 20p profit after postage. Even though got money back, it's painful because I'll be selling these for 10, 20 years. That's just it. You know, you have to make those decisions, you know, whether you're up for that and whether that's a good use of your time. And also look out for it's not even just about just the use of your time. Look at what it makes your eBay store looks like, or what does it make your eBay store look like to eBay, you know, as well as to customers. Because if eBay are sending you traffic and a lot of your listings are just getting lots and lots of impressions, but no one's clicking on them because they don't want any of the stuff that they're seeing, or you're paying, or even worse, you're paying promoted listings, your promoted items are showing up in people's searches, and because you're not competitive, or because your item is in the same genre but is not in demand, getting impressions, no clicks, it's going to hurt your store as well. So I mean, I know this stuff is very like common sense, but it's one of those things. It's really easy when you know how. I mean, I'm not. You know, we've never professed to be good at this. I still don't think we're good at this. We're just doing it. There are people that are infinitely better, and that's what helps you because you can see how good you can do on eBay. So like I always take a lot of solace in that fact that if like I'm doing badly on eBay, I actually love knowing about people that are doing really well on eBay, because it just makes me appreciate, oh, thank God it's not eBay, it's me, because I can fix that. Whereas if it was the platform, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I try to look at it now. And I've not always looked at it like that, you know. We've not, have we?
No, we've not.
Yeah, we've been on this channel crying.
Turn on the light.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's better. Yeah, I've been crying on here before, saying how eBay's slow and stuff. And in hindsight, if I look back on it, it was probably like what I was listing was slow. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, we learnt this with the RC parts, didn't we?
We did. Because we were listing absolutely everything.
Yeah. Like we should have realised that the good stuff sold, and then we were left with stuff, and we were just working through it almost as if, weren't we?
Yeah, well, I think that was a difficult one to kind of go.
Yeah, it was an emotional.
That kind of changed where we were heading with like our eBay business. That got us like into different paths.
I think it was almost an emotional thing to let go of that.
Yeah, because
so
it was.
I'm really glad that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Married to Reselling says, yep, all that glitters is not gold. We've been offered and declined so much for reseller buyouts. The focus on supply demand isn't there in the early days. Yeah, exactly. I think you're completely right there. Hey, this is Beck's time. Take your time, Beck.
I think we're a little bit behind.
Wow. Okay. We'll quickly scroll down. If we see any comments, we'll mention them. Let's see. Okay. I honestly think that many resellers are earning way below minimum wage for the hours that they put in, sadly, says Peter Walton. Personally, I was shocked at how low my hourly rate is. Working in front of the TV still work. Peter, that's very true. We talk about that a lot, especially with the shop.
Especially with the shop.
Yeah.
We always, particularly when we're having a bad day in the shop, we go,
let's give you guys an example, right? Today, both of us were in the shop.
Yeah.
We had one sale come in. Actually, after we closed, they started browsing after.
Yeah,
and it was a whopping $5.99 sale. So that's a day's electricity, a day's time. Thankfully, we were working online on our website and on obviously on eBay
when it
stuff.
was back up and running.
Yeah, when it finally got up and running. But you know, if we'd gone and worked in someone else's shop and they'd had zero sales, like when I used to work at Harrods and we used to have 0 sales days, believe it or not, in Knightsbridge of all places, I still got paid, didn't I?
Yeah.
You know, you can go to work. If the company has a bad day, that's the company's problem. When you're there, and that's like, you know, that can happen. And so, yeah, we definitely have earned way below minimum wage today if you work that out, 100%. Nice Life has a film prop pistol from the Kingsman, £600 if anyone wants it. Wow, bargain. That probably is for a film prop, to be fair. BCP is promoting your channel. Stu Mandry, thank you for popping in. I got all the pops from the Kingsman. Great film, says Secret Car, but I've not seen it. I want to see it, actually. I like Ray Fiennes.
Bird, bird, bird. Bird, the bird is the word. Have a great weekend, Z and Beckon all in chat. Smiley face.
Thank you so much, Santa.
Thank you, Santa.
$10. I really appreciate the super chat. It means an awful lot. Very kind of you. And yes, it is definitely bird is the word. But great point also, Peter Walton with the hourly rate. Okay. Alia says maybe with the less desirable comics, why not group together like Marvel or DC bundle? The reason why we're still happy to sell them,
they sell quite well in the shop. They sell really well in the shop.
We do £3 each or 2 for a £5.
Yeah.
And we regularly sell those. So they're more like our for our shop.
So we kind of do group them together then.
Yeah.
Like
we do separate them.
We do offer a bit of a discount if people want to buy more. So it's
great perspective. Thank you. I need to differentiate if it's actually a good deal or just cheap because nobody else wants it, says Peter Walton. The Price is Right, says Barry. Are they bringing that show back with Z as a presenter and Beck? Very funny, Barry. Thank you for popping in. Peter Walton says this is a phenomenal live tonight. Thank you for this. You could have honestly transformed my business because I wasted so much time listening junk. That's very kind of you to say, Peter. Tommy says if there isn't nearly as many or more sold than listed, leave it behind. Cash flow is king and junk pulls down the whole store. It's so true, Tommy. I think the problem is when we're all trying to build our stores, aren't we? And then you start realizing that you might only have just enough stock to, because even doing 15 listings a day, we right now can't achieve that, which is really sad. I feel kind of like, oh wow, that's really. I mean, I'm sure there'll be opportunities when we'll get more lots or more collections or things, but with those criteria in mind, like I want every one of my 15 items, and until I can achieve that, I'm happy to list 5 a day if those 5 are because the things I'm listing are selling quick now because I'm making sure they're in demand and I can offer them at a price that's competitive. I like that. That is the kind of thing, and it's making me think different. And
also like your sales, like when you get sales, you'll notice it in your own store. Yeah. So when you're looking at what you're packaging, and you're like, I've only just listed that. Listed that, and it's like, well, that's telling you something in itself.
Jack says that's why I run my store with lots of in-demand, low value, and low-demand, high-value items. Balances things out. Jack has got phenomenal setup. And so definitely always worth listening to what Jack has to say. He's a baby, but he's literally doing better than I would say majority of people I know, and certainly better than we are. So you've got to have it's not about regretting it, Peter.
No,
Like
don't.
it's about learning from it. I think the worst thing you can do as a reseller is to have the list it and forget it approach. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but I know there are people that list and forget. I think honestly that's the worst thing you could probably do, because you're actively saying, I'm not going to learn. I'm refusing to learn from my mistakes. I'll buy something even if it's if it's got barely any demand, and I'm just going to stick it on there and just have it on my store, allow it that space, allow it one of my free my free, was it 1,500 monthly listings if you're in the middle store. I'm going to allow it to have one of those spots every month, and I'm going to wait until the person that really wants it comes along and pays the money I want. And then you pat yourself. I've said this before because I've done it myself, and that's why I feel comfortable talking about it. I've bought items that I shouldn't have bought, and then I've listed them and I've had them for yonks, whether that's months or a year. Then they've sold for my asking price, and I sit there and say, I only paid £5 for that. But the opportunity cost of that £5 being tied up in that item for a whole year versus the £200 that I might have gotten in the sale, you know, that's not a good deal. That's not a good sale. But if you said to most people, I turned 5 into 200, it sounds great, doesn't it? Oh, I bought this for 5 and I sold it for 200. Aren't I amazing, right? Actually, if it's taken you a year, no, you're not amazing. Because in a year, if you'd bought 5 items every month from that £5 that were fast selling, you would no doubt over the year be making way more than what you'll make by waiting a year to sell it for 200.
Yeah.
And that's just the facts in my mind. Obviously you can disagree and I will be like, okay, that's fine. I do have to give Tommy some credit here too. He's been preaching this for a while. I still struggle listing the garbage, but for the last few months I can see how it's hurting my store, says Susie. Yeah, honestly, Tommy is like, he's got the whole thing locked down. 0 sales in Harrods, 0 sales in Harrods. That was back when Z was working in the Betamax BCI department. Honestly, I worked in a concession, Tom, and there were days in our concession.
It's not necessarily a 0 sales day for Harrods in general. It's just
like
Harrods
that. Was always making
it was
money.
Like that department.
Your department, yeah.
Like your department could have a 0 sales day.
So we were on the 3rd floor, and we were in the hi-fi section of the 3rd floor. And within that hi-fi section, there was all these little concessions. So you get brands like Lynn, Lerva. Then there was Seven Oaks Hi-Fi. That's who I used to work for, Seven Oaks Hi-Fi. And there were days where certain departments would take nothing, especially the tiny niche ones as well. So yes, join my Patreon for $35 a month. I'll tell you all the secrets to eBay, says Tommy. You know what? That's a good idea. Monkey Drifter says, I've been more or less self-employed for 30 years and you certainly work more hours for less, but the freedom is more rewarding. Very true. Susie says she'll give him $55. Anomalous Data Point says, for some people, sometimes me, there is a psychological benefit to getting a bunch of listings up without worrying too much about quality. It is demotivating when your store is looking thin. What do you think about that, hun?
I can see that.
You feel comfortable listing, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. You like it when you've got
I
work
very much
to work
like
through.
listing and having a whole bunch of stuff to work through. I love that aspect of it. I don't like it when it's kind of like, oh, what am I going to list today?
Yeah.
So I very much can understand that.
You can understand that,
actually.
Yeah. I think everyone likes to feel like they're doing something. You know, you want to say I worked hard today, but like there's more to it than working hard, right? Yeah. Working hard is part of the equation, but there's more to this all than just working hard. There's got to be some system, some kind of improvement. You know, otherwise, you know, because honestly, like, why was I like, you know, doing, you know, why was I bloating our store? There was a point where our store was bloated to nearly 2,000 listings, right? 2,000 listings. We've had 2,000 listings and have had worse sales than we do right now at 170 listings. So psychologically we were like, okay, we're doing well, let's keep listing, let's grow and grow.
Because the other side of it is that you kind of
you just
get
assume,
yourself into like a place where you're like,
if
well,
this much makes this much,
I've got this much listed, there's so
And
much
sold this
more
much,
chance of actually selling it.
if I have more,
But it doesn't always work that way, because if the items that you're actually listing to be sold,
the human
no
brain,
one wants.
The human
it's
brain
kind of
wants
like it's there for decoration, right?
Yeah, I mean, the human brain says, "Oh wow, I made £500 because out of my 100 items listed. If I had 200 items listed, I would have made £1,000."
Yeah,
that's how we work sometimes, right? I mean,
yeah, of course.
But you're right; it's for decoration. If it's not a
if
good
it's
item,
not a good item, and it's like
So I feel that's an important thing to think about. I really do. It's a business and our livelihood, says Tommy. Junk in equals junk out. The quality of items is a representation of our character. That's a really good way to look at it, Tommy. That is a really good way to look at it, because I kind of feel like if you look at it like that, you're going to be a lot more, you're going to think, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like if I actually say, does this product, does the quality, like we do, and the funny thing is we do this for our shop. We won't, we think about what we put into our shop.
We completely assess what we put in our shop. Like,
is it
for
the
our
right
shop
quality? Is it the right, Is
it licensed stuff?
Does it suit? Yeah.
That's the one thing that we always ask ourselves is like,
and the quality licensed? As well, not just the license, because there's plenty of licensed stuff which is crap.
Like a while back, right? We went to the spring fair, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we were considering like starting to get like t-shirts and hoodies and things like that into the shop. It was like those were one of the things that we were kind of really, really interested in doing it. We've actually changed our mind on that since, because when you go around Tesco's, when you go around Asda, when you go around Primark and shops like that, they have like the pop culture stuff that we would be looking at, getting t-shirts for, getting hoodies for, but they offer it at such a price we would not even be able to compete at it, because we'd be paying more for it at wholesale prices than we can offer to our customers. And we were just like, even if the quality is there, the fact that those shops can offer at that price
makes us
we
uncompetitive.
Would constantly look so expensive and like not competitive. It's pointless us getting involved in it.
So why aren't we using those same mentalities?
And so we changed our mind on it. We were like, no, this isn't right, because we can't offer it at the prices that we would obviously have to actually fit
and those
into
are
the
in
market.
demand items, like in demand. Like if we bought a whole bunch of Stranger Things Hellfire Club shirts, which we can buy at wholesale, they would be super popular, super in demand. Everyone wants them. They're like hotcakes, right? However, unless we can offer them at a competitive price,
there's no point.
And you can play the risky game of if people sell out, you can price more, etc. But that's such a risky game, especially for a small business to have money tied up like that.
Then it's tying that money up until someone sells out.
Exactly.
And there's always going to be someone that's got bigger stacks than you.
And the thing is, when you've got money tied up, whilst that money's tied up, that's opportunity cost.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So Steph sells stuff by the seashore, says hello there, first time catching you live. Thank you for popping in, Steph. Really appreciate it. Work smart, not hard. Churn and burn, says John Wylem. Hey John, how are you? What else are people saying? Santa says, sounds like a line from Ron Papay, list it and forget it, like those seen on TV infomercials for cookers. Set it and forget it. What else are people saying? Shellsworth says, I like that too. It's being task oriented, being able to tick stuff off. Makes a lot of sense. Kathy says, it's not true that everyone wants to say that they have worked hard today. I know plenty for whom that really doesn't matter at all. I mean, Kathy, you're I'm sure you're right. Personally, I feel like I like to know that I've worked hard as well. I just feel like I can enjoy my evening if I've worked hard. But there is more to it than just working hard, because we've spent days working hard which hasn't been the right kind of hard work, where it's not produced for us. And at the end of the day, we do need it to produce for us. But that's a good point. Tommy says, if someone tells you that they have thousands of items listed, that means generally they have a ton of junk no one wants. Scale by average selling price, not listings. You can make way more doing way less. That is literally, honestly, guys, listen to Tommy there. That's just facts. Yeah, 100%. Jack says, I struggle to get my store over 1,300 listings. Meanwhile, my sales are 2 to 3 times that amount in 90 days. See, that is exactly where you want to be. So if you're able to grow your store too easily, there's something wrong. You know, you shouldn't be able to see your store grow, like just keep growing and keep growing in inventory terms. I'm talking inventory, I'm not talking sales. If you can make your inventory just go up and up and up, all that means is you're good at listing stuff. It means, unfortunately, it means you're good at listing stuff that no one wants or people want, but not at the prices you're offering.
Yeah.
So that's all that means. So you want to be in that situation where the sales are 2 to 3x his listings. That's actually kind of similar to where we are, but on our tiny scale of 100 and something listings, Jack. We're about that. Our solds for 90 days are about 3 times or 2 and a bit times, I think, what we've got. So, but yeah, that's obviously a lot. Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, Jack, compared to yours, but still. Good point, says Steph. Sell stuff by the seashore. I've always wondered what a seller with thousands of listings would do if they all sold in one day. Yeah, that will never happen, Steph, ever. eBay caps all the traffic. Pretty good. Pretty true. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's pretty much like what's on our mind at the moment.
Yeah.
So our goal is to now really focus on sourcing items with that criteria. I mean, talk about stating the obvious, eh? Hey guys, we want to sell things that people want to buy at market value. Really? Did we just spend an hour talking about that?
We did.
But yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to sell items that people want at market value. So yeah, that's going to be the plan. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I hope you guys enjoyed the chat. We really enjoyed this, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
I did.
Oh,
Did you?
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we both did.
We both did.
Oh, Blue Harvest Dice has popped in as well. Thanks for popping in. I'm watching a claim. No worries. Thanks for popping in. We're just finishing off now.
We're just finishing
But thank you so much for popping in, guys. I really do appreciate all the comments. It would be interesting for you to put your thoughts down in the comment section if you fancy. I really do appreciate. I really do appreciate like all the interaction we've had. Kath says you haven't managed to source a microphone stick. See, that's how bad
that's
is.
how good his sourcing is.
Kathy, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, still holding it like this. Yeah, so much. We all the bleeding obvious pointing out to us on the regular. Yeah, we do all need it sometimes. I think you're right,
you need
Shel.
a reminder. Sometimes you just need to go over things and think, like, I mean, we automatically do it for the shop. We question what we put in the shop, and it's like, relating that to online as well, because just because someone's not necessarily walking through your shop door, you still got to be happy with what you're presenting for sale, I suppose.
I think it's because it's digital. Like, I think when it's a physical shop and you see the same item gathering dust, it's a physical representation. When you look at your eBay sales page and you see your listing number, it's just a number. It's not a physical representation. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a physical. You're not seeing that item unless you could. And most of us have our items neatly filed away in storage boxes, etc. But I think it's great to have it in front of you. So yeah, I just have to kind of have that. Jack says, "Are you going to be at Billsborough tomorrow?" Yeah, I'll be selling at Billsborough.
Yeah, you'll be there, won't you?
Yeah, I'll be selling at Billsborough.
I'm going to be at the shop, so yeah.
Blue Harvest says the Robocop and Ed was a big hit. Super.
That's good.
Right, guys, thank you so much for popping in. Really appreciate it. Leave a comment.